Stephanie Stitches. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to ask you a huge favor. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. Click that little button below that says subscribe, and then if you want to be notified when new videos go live or I am live, hit that little bell and that will notify you as soon as I pop up. I'd sure appreciate it. I'd love to get to 2,500 subscribers by Christmas so I can give away that Olisa iron for you guys. If this is the first time to my channel, thank you so much for coming. And if you are a return subscriber or just a return person who keeps watching, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So today I'm going to sew up the next block in the Homemade Holidays Fort Worth Fabric Studio mystery quilt. I have the blocks behind me, the peppermint candies and the presents, and then I got so excited when I saw this fabric kit come. It had this caramel grunge in it. It says caramel grunge, and I knew from the minute I saw the fabric, I was like, okay, there's going to be gingerbread men in this quilt. I love snowmen and gingerbread men. Those are my two favorite things for winter. I just think they're so cute and fun and festive. So when this block came out, the blocks come out every Monday. When this block came out yesterday, I was super excited to see that it was a gingerbread man. I wanted to film this and put it up right away yesterday, but I didn't have time. I was quite busy doing other things. So I thought I'd film this for you today, and you could see the next block. I did get a chance to sew up 2 of these gingerbread men. I went ahead and looked at the instructions, and you kind of make this gingerbread in rows. You kind of make his head, the headpiece first, and then the center where his arms are at first, and then the third part is the legs. And when I looked at the legs, they're a little bit tricky, so I was like, I better practice this before I film it. So I did make 2 of them. They're super cute. So I'm going to make the last one and show you guys how to do this. Now, if you want to still do this quilt, the patterns are free. They're at Fort Worth Fabric Studio Homemade Holidays Mystery Quilt. I will put that link in the box below. So go check that out. They leave them up there for quite a while. I do know they do take it down after a while and sell the pattern, but I think it's probably at least 6 months. So you've got a while to download this, and I bought the kit that they were selling. They are sold out of it, but you can make this with your own fabric, and sometimes it's fun to make it with your own fabric after you've seen the whole thing done. So if you haven't started it yet and you want to wait, that could be fun, because then you can pick out what you like for each piece of this. But this has been really, really fun. The blocks have been, I would say none of them until the legs on the gingerbread man were above beginner to beginner advanced. I would say the legs on the gingerbread man, they're a little bit tricky. You just have to be careful how you line up the triangles, and the triangles also are on the bias, so they stretch a little bit. So you have to just be a little bit careful. So I would say that's a little bit more intermediate, but I think if you've been sewing for a while and you still consider yourself beginner, but you've been at it for a while, you could probably do this. So yeah, so let's get started. Thank you again for coming back today. I'm so excited to see everybody. I'm gonna start with the head. Like I said, this sews in rows. I've already marked all my blocks, so you have to, we're gonna snowball a lot of these blocks, and so there's a lot of marking on the back. Now, I do use my seam tape most of the time and I don't mark, but I decided to go ahead and mark this to get this guy precise. So I marked the back of all of these. And you could chain piece each row, since there's 3 gingerbread men, all at the same time. And actually, when I did the first 2, I chain pieced the head and then ironed those 2 and then put the sides on all of them. So that'll definitely make it go quicker, but I wanted to save one to show you guys. So to snowball the corners, you just put a square right side together on top of the caramel rectangle, and we're going to sew right across here and do it on all 4 corners. So there you have it. I've put the pieces on all four corners. I'm going to trim those about 1/4 inch away, and then I'm going to press them out. You can use your ruler and a rotary cutter to trim them if you like. I'm just going to scissor cut it about 1/4 inch. Okay. Put that away. Here's my pressing pen. Get my pressing pen. You guys know I like my pressing pen. The nice thing about this pressing pen too is that you can put some of the liquid on the seam and then sort of finger press the fabric where you want it to go before you iron it if you like. That makes it work out even more. Get nice precise seams. Okay. Now they did recommend for this gingerbread block that if you want to, you could go ahead and embroider some eyes on, maybe use some buttons down the front of your gingerbread man. But if you're going to do that, definitely if you're going to have it quilted by a long arm quilter, definitely wait until it's after it's quilted. You could, if you're going to embroider, you could always do that before it's quilted. But if you are going to put buttons on, make sure that you don't put that on before you send it to a quilter. That does not work well under our machines. So now I'm just putting these sides next to the head of the gingerbread man. This part of the block is super easy. So here's the top row, gingerbread man's head. I'm just going to press this guy. That would look really cute with some embroidery, some little eyes, maybe a smile. Okay, there's the head unit. The next is the arms, and I did start to build it because I was chain piecing, and then I totally forgot that I needed to stop and show you guys how to do this. So I have over half the arm done. So the middle section of the arm is this rectangle, and then you build on either side. So I already built this side, so I'll show you guys on this side. So we take this piece, which is like around the wrist, put this on to the center rectangle. Press that guy. Okay. And now I'm going to do the hand. So I'm going to add this rectangle here. press him. Okay, so we've got that piece on, and then I'm going to take these green little squares and I'm going to snowball the two corners right here. So right here and here, to create more of the hand look. The nice thing about these gingerbread men is that they broke it into 3 rows, the head piece, the arm section, and then the leg section, and none of the rows need to match up or be nested, so they made that part really nice. Now it seems to match up. Okay, press these. I'm going to press these out. So you'll have something that looks like this. And now, the only other thing I have to do to finish this arm row is to put on this last green piece. So as you can see, this is super simple. The heads and the arms went real quick for me. It was the legs that took a little bit of time. Pressing that piece out towards the green. And you have your arms and your head. Now I'm going to go ahead and join these two. And like I said, the nice thing about this gingerbread man is that there's no seams to match up from row to row. It's real nice. Anytime you can sew and not have to match up things and pin, that makes me happy. I hate to pin. Oops. I'm about to give my gingerbread man some blonde hair. He's got a head. He's got arms. Okay, I'm just going to, I'm going to iron him towards the head because there's less pieces in that direction. I think he'll lay a little bit nicer. You could iron him open if you want him to be super flat, but I don't think it needs to. I don't think it needs to iron open. I'm gonna iron towards the head. I think it'll be fine. Okay, we got half a gingerbread man. It's cute. Alright, so let's get on to this leg. Trying to see if I can see, make sure I'm putting this in the right place so you guys can see it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to join these parts of the leg. So like the upper part of the leg, the collar, and then the bottom part of the leg. So I have a big caramel piece, a rectangle, and then a red piece I'm going to put together. And you'll find all the sizes in the directions, of course. Don't want to give away their sizes. You'll have to just grab their pattern. This is the easy part. The tricky part's next. Iron that guy. And then add the next caramel rectangle to the bottom of that red. And iron that one. Okay, so we have one leg. I've already made the left leg, so now I'm going to make the right leg. And you do have to pay attention to direction when you do these, when you put the triangles on and when you cut them. Actually, not so much this part where you put the triangles on, but when you cut them, definitely. So this is the tricky bit. You have a rectangle, and we're going to be adding a triangle to each side. So you have to, I already did this. I drew a line, I don't know if you guys can see this, right here on my triangle. It's a 1/4 inch from the end of your triangle, because you want it to stick off a 1/4 inch off the edge of the top of the rectangle. If you don't, they won't line up correctly. Ask me how I know. There may have been some use of Jack this morning. It's a little tricky to line up. Now what I've been doing is hanging that off the edge there. And making sure, bending the triangle back and making sure it's going to line up correctly. It's a little tricky, this part. I will be right back. I hear one of my kiddos calling me. Sorry guys, hang on. Sorry about that, I'm back. I usually film late at night or early in the morning when my kids are sleeping, and their dad was gone for the day, so I had to well, he'll be upstairs like if they wake up while I'm filming, but he was gone for the day, so I did start this pretty early in the morning, but they woke up, so then they were calling me wanting to know where everybody was. So sorry about that, I'm back. Alright, so what I forgot to tell you guys earlier is once you've finished the leg piece, you need to fold it lengthwise onto itself, and we're going to iron just, you don't have to iron the whole thing. Just this side, we need to iron this to make sure it's dead center. And this is one of the tricky bits, this and putting the triangles on. And I forgot to do that earlier, so I'm kind of glad I stepped away for a minute and I remembered. And don't burn your finger. That iron was pretty hot. So here I've got it ironed in half, as you can see. Okay. Then you're gonna take your ruler. Now, some rulers have a 45-degree line on them. I don't know if you guys can see the line. Yeah, with my hand up there. This one has a 45-degree line on it. Some rulers have a 45-degree line and some have a 60-degree line. So make sure that you do the 45-degree line. So I'm just going to grab a ruler that only has the 45 so I don't get fooled by that. So pull this out. Hopefully you guys can see this. So here's my piece that I just finished, and I have it, the fold side is down here, the open side is near the top. So I'm going to put this line, the 45-degree line, along the bottom crease, right up to the edge. Take your time doing this, because you can't go back once you got this. So make sure it's correct. So I've got that 45-degree line on the bottom crease. The ruler's all the way against the outer edge of my fabric. And we're on the larger side, the larger rectangle. You have the larger rectangle and then your colored piece and then the smaller rectangle. I'm cutting on the larger rectangle side. And then you're gonna cut right up against that 45-degree line. And you open it back up and you should have a piece that looks like this. And now I'm going to iron that back flat again because we don't need that line, and that's why I didn't iron it all the way down. I didn't want to put a crease all the way down. So have a piece that looks like that. Now we can add the triangles. I did want to let you guys know that tomorrow is kind of a special day. So I'm going to have some fun things on my channel tomorrow, so make sure you come by and check it out. One of them may be a giveaway. So don't forget to stop back. Okay, I'm gonna pin. So, like I was saying before, your triangle piece that you lay on top has to stick off the edge about 1/4 of an inch. So I drew that line a quarter inch away, and let me pin this and I'll show you. This was the tricky bit for me, and honestly, I'll be completely honest, the first time I sewed one of the legs, I didn't sew it correctly. I put it on and it didn't look right, so I ended up ripping it off and then starting over, and it came out. I understood what they were trying to tell us to do, but I didn't put the fabric far enough off the end, so that's when I decided to draw the 1/4 inch line. So I've got that line, as you can see, 1/4 inch, and now it should come out just right. That was the tricky bit of this, was the cutting at the 45-degree angle of the rectangle, and then making sure you came 1/4 inch, the fabric came 1/4 inch off of the material before you sew. Now I rarely pin, but I found that it was very important to pin this step to make sure that fabric didn't move and it stayed right where you wanted to. So now, just leave those there because I'm going to use them again. I'm going to iron this, and it should make a nice line if I did my fabric correctly. We shall see. You may see Stephanie rip today. Okay, looks like it came out good. Yay, that makes me happy. I only had to rip one, so that's not too bad. This whole quilt, that's the only thing I've had to seam rip so far, so I'm pretty happy with that. Knock on wood. I might have just cursed myself for the rest of the quilt, but that's okay. Okay, So after you do that, you're going to have a piece that looks sort of like this. So you can see once I've ironed this, it makes the straight line across, and it kind of looks a little funky because you've got green here and then it stops, and then you've got a piece of this that sticks out. But don't worry, that's correct. We're going to trim that off later. So all right, now we're going to do the other side. I'm going to do the same thing that we just did. I already marked the 1/4 inch, so I just have to find where it goes on here. Pin. Now I'm pinning on each side because this is a square that we cut in half to get 2 triangles, so it's a bias edge, so it's a bit stretchy, so you may want to be careful with that. That can be a little tricky, but nothing too bad. Now I did best press all my fabric before I cut, and that does help a little bit. When you get stretchy pieces like that, it keeps it from stretching so badly. Okay. Going to iron this guy. We're going to trim him down to the proper size, and then there'll be one more piece to add. And when I trimmed it down, I was like, oh, there's a big hole in the in the block. You'll see what I mean in a minute. I thought it was very odd because I've never made a block this way before, where it looks like you finish the whole block, but then there's like a chunk missing of the block. So it's a little strange, but just so y'all know, it's normal. It's supposed to be this way. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Now, I'm going to trim this down. And so this is the important part. I made the right leg already, or the left leg already. So now I'm making the right leg. So when I trim it, I need to make sure that I trim it where this piece starts at the top when I trim it, to make sure that it's going the right direction. So what I've been doing is laying the two next to each other and making sure that I trim them opposite. A little harder to do sitting down, but usually I stand to cut. That's kind of hard to do on camera, to kind of stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down. So it's a little interesting. I'm learning something new myself. Okay. These are trimmed to 7.5 by 6.5. I always double count when I'm doing the final thing. I don't want to have to remake this block. Okay, so that's all trimmed up. Now, this is where it's going to look funny. And this is where I got done with this, and I'm like, there's a piece missing out of the block. Here's the block. What happened to his foot? So, you trim it all up first, then you add the little square. There's one more square to add. And that's going to complete the block. I've never made a block this way, where you basically finish it and then add a piece. So this is really interesting. Something new and fun. I like learning new things, so this is great. And we're going to trim him off of there. I'm going to press. All right. Now he's complete. He's got a foot. So I'm going to put the two legs together. Easy. Just join them together. And on this one, I did press, after I joined these together, I did press them open. Because I was trying to decide which way to press them, left or right. It doesn't really matter. You could do left or right because there's no seam in the middle that we have to match up anything with. But when I tried pressing left or right, I tried pressing to the one direction, it felt a little bit bulky. And most of you know I'm a long arm quilter, and so I always think about when I'm doing piecing, I always think about, okay, when I throw this on the long arm, is the long arm going to struggle when it gets to that point? So like when I did the peppermint blocks behind me, they had the pinwheels in the middle, and pinwheels can be tricky. They get, as you guys probably know, those of you who have done pinwheels, they get super bulky in the middle. So I always press those open so that way, and use the pressing solution so they can get as flat as possible, because I don't want like my long arm to hit that section and skip a stitch or break the thread. That'd be a terrible place to break the thread and have to back up and kind of start again. So sometimes pressing open, I've heard there's a lot of like controversy about it, like, oh, it makes your seams weaker, this or that or whatever. You know, if you're using an 1/8 of an inch seam, allowance maybe, but I don't find that to be true. And especially after it's been quilted. I mean, your quilt is as long as, the places where I see quilts come apart the most, honestly, are on the borders. I very rarely see quilts come apart in blocks. So I've never really had a problem with pressing open. And if you are concerned about that, but you want to press open, you can lower your stitch length. Like I would do, which is actually what I did on this. I lowered my stitch length to about a 1.8. So okay, we have our third gingerbread man. He's so cute. I'm gonna press him in a minute and put him on the wall with the others, but that's all I have for you today, and I appreciate you guys coming by. I am so excited because we are pretty much done with all the blocks. The last week for this mystery quilt is next Monday, which would be the 20th. I can do math. The 20th. And that should be the finishing instructions to put this all together. Now, I don't think there's any more blocks left. I think it's just putting it all together, because looking at the fabric that I have left, it pretty much all looks like sashing strips, border pieces, and that's it. So I think we're done. I think we're done with the blocks. And aren't they cute? Gingerbread men, peppermints, little houses, stars. I'm so happy I did this. So, or not houses, sorry, houses. Presents. Presents. I was thinking about another quilt that I'm about to start that has houses in it, but presents, gingerbread men, peppermints, and stars. So this has been great. I'm so excited. I can't wait till Monday to see the final instructions on how to put it all together, because I'm stoked. Like, I actually, because of you guys, kept up with and I'm going to finish a project in a timely manner. So fun. Thank you so much for stopping by today. The word of the day is silver. Silver and gold, you know, the song, Silver Bells. The word of the day today is silver. And don't forget to subscribe, like my video. It helps me out a lot. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. And pop by tomorrow for sure, because I'm going to have, tomorrow's a special day, so I'm going to have a giveaway. And I would love to give you something for coming by my channel. So see you tomorrow. Bye!